favorite podcast app.
A day of redemption, nearly 3 decades in the making. A 51-year-old black man who spent nearly 30 years in prison is a free man tonight for a murder he said he did not commit. The Philadelphia District Attorney's Office saying Eric Riddick did not receive a fair trial. In the years since the conviction, the lone witness has recanted their testimony. Riddick now smiling wide with his family tonight. Nearly 6 months after the insurrection at the Capitol, a bipartisan push for a commission to investigate what happened fails in the Senate. This comes despite the family of an officer who died begging Republicans to get on board. What comes next? A holiday weekend test. As life returns to normal, a record number of Americans expected to travel this long weekend. The CDC's message tonight for those who are vaccinated and those who are not. And can employers require workers to be vaccinated before returning to the office? Memorial Day washout, the rain heading across the country tonight. Will you be able to be outside this long weekend? It depends on where you are. Our Rob Marciano tracking the storms. A lifeline this Memorial Day weekend for those serving our country.
We have the ability to make it possible for families who serve to feel stable, respected, and supported by the people that they are protecting.
The organization stepping up to ensure our soldiers and their families get the food they need. A moment of hope born out of great loss in Israel. A Palestinian given a life-saving kidney by a Jewish person who was stoned to death. Some moments transcend cultures. The families meeting for the first time, and we were there. And good evening. I'm Juju Chang in for Lindsay Davis. Thank you so much for streaming with us tonight. On this Memorial Day weekend, we are tracking wet weather moving across the country and the busiest travel day since the pandemic began. But we begin tonight with bipartisan failure in Washington. After months of back and forth, Democrats and Republicans were not able to get on the same page about a bipartisan commission to examine what happened at their workplace on January 6th, when insurrectionists stormed the Capitol, injuring 140 officers, leaving 1 dead. After many Republicans initially spoke out against the insurrection, few Republicans were willing to put their name next to a yes vote to form a bipartisan commission. This comes despite the family of a slain officer, Brian Sicknick, begging Republicans to vote yes. 6 Senate Republicans ultimately voted for the commission, but it was not enough to break the filibuster. Our Rachel Scott leads us off tonight from Washington.
Tonight, under pressure from Donald Trump and with an eye on the midterms, Republicans blocked the effort to form a bipartisan commission to investigate the Capitol siege. Senate Majority Leader Chuck Schumer calling the vote proof that Republicans support Trump's lies about the election over the truth.
Shame on the Republican Party for trying to sweep the horrors of that day under the rug because they're afraid of Donald Trump.
Only 6 Republicans voted in favor of the commission, including Senator Lisa Murkowski, who told reporters her party is making a decision for short-term political gain at the expense of understanding what happened on January 6th.
We just can't pretend that nothing bad happened or that people just got too excitable. Something bad happened, and it's important to lay that out.
11 senators, including 9 Republicans, didn't show up at all for today's vote, which came 24 hours after the mother of Capitol Police Officer Brian Sicknick went door to door, pleading with Republican senators to support the commission. Gladys Sicknick wearing a necklace containing her son's ashes.
Usually I'm staying in the background, and I couldn't stay quiet anymore.
Today, she described some of those meetings as tense.
I think because we knew they weren't sincere. They weren't sincere, and I don't understand it. They are elected for us, the people, and they don't care about that.
Democrats left shaking their heads.
We all walked over the same broken glass. We all saw the spray paint on the wall. We all heard the horror stories from the staff and police officers who were protecting us that day. And I don't understand why they are afraid of the truth.
And Rachel Scott joins us now from Washington. Democrats are saying tonight they will press ahead alone.
Yeah, Juju. House Speaker Nancy Pelosi saying tonight that her party is going to be pressing forward to, quote, find the truth. Democrats are now considering taking matters into their own hands. They can form a special select committee, but the big difference here is that it may not have bipartisan support, and Republicans are already brushing it off, calling it all political, Juju.
And Rachel, Majority Leader Schumer is vowing to make Republicans pay for this no vote, but what does he actually have the power to do?
Yeah, Schumer saying today that he could bring this commission back up to the floor for another vote. But the big hurdle here is the filibuster. This is the rule that requires at least 10 Republicans in this congressional Senate support any piece of legislation in order for it to move forward. So Schumer would have to change the Senate rules. And I could tell you by talking to moderate Democratic senators, including Joe Manchin just today, they are not on board for that, Juju.
Thanks, Rachel Scott, for that update. And for more insight, we're joined now by former Republican Congresswoman Barbara Comstock of Virginia. Barbara, thanks so much for joining us.
Good to be with you.
And we know you spent time on Capitol Hill this week guiding that mother of the fallen Capitol Hill police officer, Brian Sicknick, as she met with Republican senators. Take us inside those meetings. What did Gladys Sicknick ask for, and how did senators respond to her arguments on the need for this independent commission?
Well, it was a privilege to be able to accompany Gladys Sicknick. You know, her son, she had 3 boys, and this was her baby, Brian Sicknick, and Sandra Gomez, who was his partner, who was actually a psychotherapist herself, so somebody very insightful into the trauma that all of our officers were dealing with, including her partner. And then we had 2 of the officers with us. So as we were going to these meetings, you know, I used to work on the committee, serve on the committee that works with our Capitol Police. We were talking about how much our police are hurting and how we need to do, and what happened to them in that day, because there's been so much whitewashing of what happened that day. People not taking it as seriously as it was when it was hours of hand-to-hand combat where they were getting beaten. Officer Fanone himself was tased with his own gun 12 times, the back of his neck, had a heart attack, almost died himself. If he hadn't been so healthy, his doctor said he could have died. And it turns out, you know, because the members would say, well, have they gotten that guy who did that to you? There were 4 individuals, but the one who tased him was Daniel Rodriguez, California, allegedly, and that's who they've charged. And he was a very active Trump supporter who came to Washington, you know, to take back, you know, what he thought was right. He believed steal lies and all of that. So the members were talking, and the officers were talking about why we need to have a holistic view of this, from not just that day and what happened in the problems and the lines breaking and that kind of thing, but the leading up to it and why that's important, not just for the country, for the officers, but for the history.
Sure. And Barbara, we just heard Gladys Sicknick in Rachel's report say that some of those meetings weren't sincere. Have you heard from the family since this vote? How are they reacting?
Yes, no, we sat down and talked after, and they certainly, you know, given the meetings, it wasn't a surprise. Actually, we're very pleased, and we do want to thank so much the 6 members who we did talk with and meet with, who did support them. And then also there was a 7th, Senator Toomey, who wasn't able to vote but did indicate he would have supported it. So we appreciate, because we know how difficult a vote, and although Senator Cassidy, for example, said, no, this was an easy call, and Senator Murkowski also, along with Senator Romney and Senator Collins and others, you know, said this is the right thing to do, and we have to do it whether we like what we're going to find out or not. So Senator Murkowski very much talked to Gladys mother to mother, and saying you should have never had to come here and ask us to do the right thing. We should be doing it anyway. And as we went around, so many of the Capitol Police officers, Officer Dunn, who was with us, would introduce them to Brian's mom. And it was just a real tough day for them. And then today, obviously a disappointment, but we have committed, we're going to keep fighting. This is going to be investigated one way or the other. And as you mentioned, They can set up a select committee now, and I hope what they do is just sort of follow what the actual committee would have been, bipartisan, 5 and 5. They work together, and if Nancy Pelosi has to appoint all of them herself, she certainly could pick Republicans like Adam Kinzinger or Liz Cheney or John Katko, who negotiated this, or even people from the outside who've been working on these issues, CIA experts, people who understand, intelligence, and get them on board to do that important work, because the American people need to know what happened and how and why and who these people were who came to the Capitol, how they got, what groups came, who funded them, and what was that whole organization about that then, Donald Trump on their way. We can't just look at what happened at the Capitol. It would be as if you had your house burned down and you're not going to talk to about the arsonist.
Right. We just heard Majority Leader Schumer say that Republicans failed to pass the vote out of fear or fealty to Donald Trump. How much do you think the former president drove this decision, and what does it say about the current state of the Republican Party?
Well, obviously, I feel my party should be turning the page from somebody who, was impeached twice, lost the popular vote twice, and lost the House, the Senate, and the White House, and then those 2 Georgia seats, which is why we're in the minority in the Senate. But I do understand that some of the members feel like they wanted to stop talking about Donald Trump altogether. The problem is Donald Trump doesn't want to stop talking about Donald Trump and making these demands. And I was always taught by my mom, you stand up to bullies, and I think our party needs to stand up to this bully who is a loser. He is a sore loser. I appreciate that there are people who maybe feel he carried their issues or talked to them, but this is not a path to the future. But more importantly, he divided the country so much. Now he's dividing our party, but this is not somebody who can govern the country and bring them together.
Right.
But we have to find out what he did, what others did that came there that day, and then also what were the institutional failures at the Capitol that day. That's a lot of that has been done. Criminal will be done, but this holistic look at how did this insurrection get to this point where people felt they could storm the Capitol and be there saying, the president told me to come. We have to directly go at that and address it.
Sure. And Barbara, in the very short time we have left, could this vote backfire on congressional Republicans?
Well, I certainly am concerned. I think it's always smart. Good policy is good politics. And I think good policy is, sunshine is the best disinfectant. Get it out there. I was an investigator in my day of the Clinton administration, and I know whenever they push back and try to hide things, the truth comes out eventually. You can fight, but it's going to come out. I'd rather have all the things known sooner rather than later, first for the country and for our own safety, because I think this domestic terrorism threat is still a real threat. But also, from a partisan standpoint, I think it would be smarter for Republicans to get out of the way and allow these investigations to go in and fall where they may, and not by somebody who has harmed our party and our country.
Former Congresswoman Barbara Comstock, thank you so much for your time and for your insights.
Thank you.
And we turn now to Microsoft's announcement that they've uncovered a cyber attack on the State Department's International Aid Agency, and they claim it was launched by a Russian government-backed group. The discovery coming just 3 weeks before a planned summit between President Biden and Vladimir Putin. The White House tonight saying that meeting is still on. Here's ABC senior White House correspondent Mary Bruce.
3 weeks before President Biden's high-stakes sit-down with Russian President Putin, tonight we're learning more about what appears to be another Russian cyber attack on the U.S. government. According to Microsoft, hackers targeted 3,000 email accounts to try to burrow into human rights groups and organizations that have been critical of Putin, sending phishing emails like this one, posing as the U.S. International Aid Agency. If users clicked on the link, hackers could gain access to their computers, potentially stealing data or infecting other computers on the network.
Clearly, the bulk of this attack is about collecting information to give Russia a strategic advantage. But the second aim seemed to be to try to embarrass the United States and show that they are still messing around in our networks.
The U.S. has not confirmed that Russia is responsible, but Microsoft says it's the same group that was behind SolarWinds, the massive Russian cyber attack last year, targeting at least 7 U.S. government agencies and major U.S. companies.
And Mary Bruce joins me now. Mary, that summit between President Biden and Vladimir Putin just weeks away, the White House saying this latest hack doesn't seem to change those plans.
Yeah, so far they are staying the course, but Juju, this does put the president in a really tricky position here. On the one hand, he is trying to stand firm against Russia, while on the other hand, trying to work with Putin on areas where they do agree. The president is likely, though, to face growing pressure to respond to Russia, and we know he's already ramped up sanctions against Russia, but clearly it hasn't been enough of a deterrence. Juju?
Still unfolding. Our thanks to you, Mary Bruce. Planes, trains, and automobiles. Millions of Americans are taking all forms of transportation to sit back and relax for the first time in perhaps a long time. A complete shift compared to last year as our nation tries to put the pandemic in the rearview mirror. ABC's Stephanie Ramos brings us this report.
Tonight, as we kick off a holiday weekend, a great American road trip is underway. Millions of Americans getting on the road again. Traffic like we haven't seen since the start of the pandemic, even as gas prices are the highest they've been in 7 years, more than $1 a gallon higher than this time last year. The main driving force behind all this driving are the number of people who have received the COVID vaccine. Nearly 60% of eligible Americans receiving at least one dose. If you're not vaccinated, the CDC says you should still wear a mask.
4 months after I took office, we're further along in this fight than anyone thought possible.
And the 2.5 million expected to travel by air this weekend also still have to mask up, even if you've been vaccinated.
The mask mandate is a federal mandate in airports and on airplanes, and that's going to hold true probably until mid-September.
Today, the peak day for air travel, long lines at major airports, making some people nervous.
I suppose I maybe am just slightly concerned about the more people on the plane.
But many elated to travel again.
To be able to fly again is wonderful. To be able to go with really hardly any restrictions and be able to take my mom out is a blessing.
President Biden in Virginia today, the latest state to lift restrictions, optimistic about this next step.
We're getting our lives back. Stores and restaurants up and down Main Street are hanging open signs on their front doors.
And tonight, new guidance for businesses. The Federal Equal Employment Opportunity Commission saying employers can require employees get COVID vaccines and even provide incentives for that. But businesses must keep the vaccination status private, and there are medical and religious exemptions. But one thing is clear, those vaccines are helping the country get back to something closer to normal. In Indianapolis, fans streaming in to check out the track ahead of Sunday's Indy 500. Our Trevor is there.
We're seeing the first of what's expected to be 135,000 fans this weekend. Masks are required inside and the stands will be capped at 40%, but this will still be America's largest crowd since the pandemic began.
Longtime fans returning to the Speedway and a sense of normalcy.
Anywhere else you'd rather be on Memorial Day weekend?
There is nowhere else I would be.
And Stephanie joins us now live from LaGuardia Airport. Stephanie, as we know, this is the unofficial start of summer. And after this, a lot of families are going to be thinking about summer camp. I take it there are new guidelines now being given to parents and camps?
Exactly, Juju. The CDC actually just updated their guidance today. Children and teens at camp no longer need to wear a mask or social distance as long as everyone is fully vaccinated. Now, for those kids who are not vaccinated or are too young to be eligible, they still need to wear a mask at camp. Now, the CDC still recommends that everyone wear a mask if in a crowded social setting, and that the kids stay in the same group for the season and mix with other groups as little as possible. Juju?
All good news for parents. Thanks, Stephanie Ramos. And with so many on the move, depending on where you are, you're either battling excessive heat or unseasonable cold. So let's go to senior meteorologist Rob Marciano. Rob, we were hoping for better news on the forecast front for those of us on the East Coast, but we know there's a lot of rain in the forecast. So tell us about that and what's in store for people across the country this holiday weekend.
Well, the good news, Juju, is that the Northeast needs the rain. Much of the East Coast really needs the rain. So here it is, and here comes more. Let's go through that. We've got a pretty sprawling system that's got two lows that are it's going to take their sweet time getting through. South of that warm front tonight is where the stronger thunderstorms have been across parts of the Mid-Atlantic. But look at all those bright colors along I-95 tonight into early tomorrow morning. It's really going to come down. We'll probably see an inch or two of rain in some spots. Might even see some minor flooding. But again, the soil certainly needs it. And then tomorrow afternoon, that secondary low takes over, and that one moves even slower. So wind and waves along the coastline and cool and showery conditions will persist, it looks like, right through Sunday. Temperatures are going to be 10 to 20 degrees below average from Chicago down to Nashville. Look at that, 46 degrees Sunday morning in Nashville and into the 40s all the way up through the Northeast. The good news is that most of the eastern, really half of the country, will clear out on Memorial Day. A little bit less rain in the west, so enjoy the sunshine if you happen to get it. Juju, have a great holiday weekend.
Thanks. Enjoy yours, too, despite the damper of the forecast. Thanks, Rob. And now to new developments. After that deadly mass shooting at the VTA rail yards in San Jose, California, investigators found a massive arsenal at the suspect's home. And we're also seeing new surveillance video showing the gunman walking calmly in the midst of his killing spree. ABC's Kaylee Hartung is in San Jose tonight with the latest.
Tonight, the first look at the arsenal the gunman amassed in San Jose. Investigators finding multiple cans of gasoline, a dozen firearms, and 25,000 rounds of ammunition at the home of the Transportation Authority employee who killed 9 of his coworkers.
Authorities have recovered explosive devices, Molotov cocktails at the gunman's home just behind me. That popping sound you just heard, that was a suspicious device being detonated.
They discovered that the package, in fact, was comprised of batteries and wires and was inert.
And safe.
And safe.
Tonight, officials say Samuel Cassidy set his home on fire before the shooting by putting ammunition in a pot on the stove. Once heated, it ignited flammable liquid. And this new surveillance video from Wednesday's rampage shows the gunman walking calmly across the rail yard just moments after killing his first victims. The attack not over yet. Overnight, hundreds gathering at City Hall to mourn with the families of the 9 men killed. Paul Magia's wife grieving the loss.
God took my best friend husband too soon, and I'm wishing I could give him one last hug and tell him how much I love you.
And Kaylee Hartung joins us now live tonight. What are investigators saying, Kaylee, now that they've discovered more evidence?
Juju, they're saying it's clear this was a planned event. Based on the evidence they have, they say they believe the suspect with his firearms was prepared to take as many lives as he possibly could. You saw those pictures of that arsenal that he'd built up at his home. But remember, in the backpack that he brought here to the rail yard, he had 3 9mm handguns and 32 magazines of ammunition, high capacity rounds there that are illegal in the state of California. We've said it every night that we've been here, but it bears repeating. If not for the quick reaction of law enforcement, this situation could have been much worse.
And the proximity, Kaylee, that you've pointed out. And I want to take you back to that suspicious device that turned out to be batteries and wire. That must have been a tense moment when authorities went ahead and had to detonate it.
It was, for us, I think so, Juju, more so than the officials and investigators on the ground there. For a bomb squad, this is what they do. They're trained in moments like this to handle them. They kept the press at a very safe distance. Even police and sheriff on scene also kept at a safe distance. This was a job for the bomb squad to do. They did their job, and the best news there was that that device was inert. Everyone was safe, and that situation ended in the best scenario it could have.
Kaylee Hartung, our thanks to you for your ongoing coverage. And when we come back, the 3 Washington officers charged in the death of an unarmed black Washington state man. They appear before a judge. The 4-year-old and the babysitter held hostage for hours as police desperately tried to de-escalate the situation. And up next, on this Memorial Day weekend, we focus on the military families suffering from hunger and what's being done to help them.
With so much at stake, so much on the line, more Americans turn here than any other newscast. ABC News World News Tonight with David Muir.
We have made it through another week together.
America's #1 most watched newscast across all of television.
Somewhere out in the country, there's a man.
I'm Bobby.
Doing good things for good people. He'll walk a mile in their shoes, then get him a brand spanking new pair when he's done.
Just wanted you to have this.
Thank you.
You name it, he'll try it. Even if it breaks him.
Bobby Bones, they're trying to break you.
Oh, great.
Breaking Bobby Bones. New series Monday at 10 on National Geographic.
We want to know how you say.
Can't start my day without GMA.
Now, with America reopening, we want you to show us how you say.
Good morning, America.
So get together with friends, family.
Good morning, America.
And share with us at #MyGMA how you say.
Good morning, America.
And you might see yourself right here on GMA.
The reality is our country can collapse from within.
You see the white power movement on the march. Klansmen and neo-Nazis, skinheads, it's meant to incite war.
From the KKK to Oklahoma City to Charlottesville, the new documentary event special.
We just need to start talking about race.
Homegrown hate, the war among us.
This is a real wake-up call.
Streaming now on ABC News Live.
Friday nights, 9/8 Central. True crime, cinematic, real-life drama, stunning, the unthinkable. Follow the clues. The Hunt. True Crime 2020. Friday nights, 9/8 Central on ABC. Now, when it matters most, the straightforward facts. ABC News is America's #1 news. Good Morning America, #1 in the morning, 9 years running. World News Tonight with David Muir, #1 in the evening with America's most watched newscast. 2020, the #1 news magazine on Friday nights. The View, the #1 daytime talk show. And ABC News Live, #1 in streaming news. ABC News is America's #1 news.
Idaho's Governor Brad Little repealed a ban on mask mandates that his political rival, the lieutenant governor, issued while he was out of state for a conference of the Republican Governors Association. Lieutenant Governor Janice McGeachin never told the governor that she was going to issue the executive order. Both were elected separately and could face off in the next election. In a harsh statement, Idaho's governor called the move a irresponsible, self-serving political stunt. Between the flags, parades, and cookouts, Americans are used to showing their patriotism on Memorial Day, but experts and advocates say this holiday, many of the nation's troops need more than a salute. They need food. Food insecurity has skyrocketed through the pandemic for many Americans, but it's been an issue long before COVID for many military families. Some advocates and lawmakers are hoping to change that. Here's ABC's Mary Alice Parks.
For many active duty military families, food assistance programs like this one in Virginia Beach are a lifeline. Doreen Ocam helps run a special group of YMCAs exclusively serving active duty military families.
We asked them to fill out this short form. It's just collecting branch of military, the number of adults in household, things like that, and if this is their first time.
They operate food assistance programs at 12 sites around the country, 4 that opened this last year during the pandemic.
A lot of people came to the pantry, got what they needed, and then maybe they came back one more time, but then they were gone. COVID, we're seeing the same people week after week, month after month. Prior to the pandemic, in San Diego, for example, we were serving 400 families a month.
Active duty military families, 400.
Post-pandemic, we had to shift to 400 a week.
Wow. So even before this unbelievable last year, there was a need. A real need.
What we hear from families is the issue is really childcare and spouse employment, and the two are absolutely inextricably intertwined.
Blue Star families estimate that during the pandemic, 42% of military spouses who were working lost their jobs, pushing many families to the brink. But even before the economic downturn for military families, finding a second income was uniquely hard.
I'm somebody who felt like I had done everything right.
Erica Tubbin's husband was a nuclear mechanic on an aircraft carrier stationed in Washington state.
I had been a high school teacher for a time. I couldn't take teaching with me when we moved up to Washington State because I wasn't certified to teach there. We also had no family in the area. So we didn't have any affordable childcare options.
The Navy income wasn't enough.
A lot of people don't realize is that when you are an enlisted service member, meaning sort of those lower ranking positions, it's often not really enough. It was really embarrassing. People constantly, when they find out that you served or that your partner served, they like to thank you for your service. And it really felt shameful. It was like I just didn't want anyone to know that that was our reality.
I heard that your dad is quite a hero.
Back in Virginia Beach, Laura Vini's husband is currently active duty Navy. She attends an early learners class with her 2 children, Leon and Eva, and other military families at the Armed Services Y. With his Navy income supporting a family of 4, Laura says the food pantry has been a welcome safety net.
It's, at the end of the month, when everyone gets that period sometimes, a couple of days till payday, they have everything in there. They have diapers, they have wipes, they have all the kind of things, especially when you have young kids and stuff, because those things get expensive.
Basic pay for new junior enlisted is about $21,000 to $24,000 a year, plus a possible housing allowance that can vary with dependents. In a survey this year from Blue Star Families, 29% of junior enlisted families talked about food insecurity. An official with the Department of Defense told ABC News the Pentagon is working to track the problem, adding a question about food insecurity on a survey it will send to active duty spouses this summer. For many Americans, the Federal Assistance Program, or SNAP, is a lifeline, but it's not an easy option for most military families, according to experts like Abby Liebman.
There was, back in the 1990s, a moment when it was clear that military families were beginning to apply for food stamps, what we now call SNAP. And there was a concern about the optics of this. So in their infinite wisdom, the military and Congress created a program that was designed to provide a supplemental subsistence allowance. And that was almost identical to the SNAP program, but only available to military.
But that program expired in 2016 for those in the continental U.S., and military housing allowances count as income, pricing most military families out of receiving SNAP benefits. Asked if it looks bad to have military families on SNAP, Congressman Jim McGovern says having families hungry is worse and argues SNAP is a good program.
It's been demonized in a way that people have resisted trying to expand it when it seems so obvious, especially when it comes to our military families.
Liebman joined other experts at a congressional roundtable McGovern convened on the topic this week.
When I was in the service, I was incredibly fortunate that I was single, no dependents.
McGovern is pushing his colleagues to look for solutions and wants the White House to hold a conference on hunger.
Hunger is a political condition. And what I mean by that is that we have the ability to fix it. We have the resources, we have the food, we have all that it takes. What we don't have is the political will.
What's your message to families that are serving this country right now and the average American that wants to support the families that are serving and protecting this country?
We have the ability to make it possible for families who serve to feel stable, respected, and supported by the people that they are protecting. And that, to me, would be a wonderful message to send out on Memorial Day. We see you, and we have your back just the way you have ours.
For ABC News, Mary Alice Parks in Washington.
Such an important message this Memorial Day. Our thanks to Mary Alice. And still ahead here on Prime, prices for summertime staples like air conditioners are spiking. We look at why and what you can do if you need to buy one of these hot items. The Pennsylvania prisoner celebrating his first day of freedom in nearly 30 years. The remarkable backstory that led to his release. And so many are on the move this weekend. We take a look by the numbers. But first, our tweet of the day, a message from President Biden on this Memorial Day weekend that all Americans can get behind.
I know what happened, and I'm not guilty.
Why the fascination with criminal trials? Figure out what's really out there.
She revealed she had murdered his family.
I know in my heart they did this.
It's the time of suspicion.
The ending's really tough.
You don't know whether truth is going to be difficult to find unless you try to find it.
Admit it. These days, what you need to know
seems to change just about every day.
What is it that you really want to know, need to know?
To help you not just get through your day,
but to make the most of it. Feel smarter.
Feel better.
Feel happier.
Well, how about a third hour of Good Morning America in the afternoon?
GMA 3, what you need to know. Lunchtime at 1 Eastern, 12 Central and Pacific on ABC. It's all about you.
The reality is our country can collapse from within.
You see the white power movement on the march. Klansmen and neo-Nazis, skinheads, it's meant to incite war.
From the KKK to Oklahoma City to Charlottesville, the new documentary event special.
We just need to start talking about race.
Homegrown hate, the war among us.
This is a real wake-up call.
Streaming now on ABC News Live.
Somewhere out in the country, there's a man.
I'm Bobby.
Doing good things for good people. He'll walk a mile in their shoes, then get him a brand spanking new pair when he's done.
Just wanted you to have this.
Thank you.
You name it, he'll try. Even if it breaks him.
Bobby Bones, they're trying to break you.
Oh, great.
Breaking Bobby Bones. New series Monday at 10 on National Geographic.
The world may feel out of your control, but your happiness doesn't have to be. Learn the secrets to happiness. Listen to the 10% Happier podcast, free on Apple Podcasts.
Robin Roberts, George Stephanopoulos, Michael Strahan. Wake up with America's #1 most watched morning show. ABC's
Good Morning America.
ABC News honored winner for the second straight year with the Edward R. Murrow Award for Overall Excellence in Television. ABC News, America's #1 news source.
Memorial Day weekend has begun, and that, of course, means travel. A lot of it, particularly now with so many Americans vaccinated and ready for that change of scenery. Here's a look by the numbers. More than 37 million Americans are expected to travel this Memorial Day weekend. That's 60% more than last year. 34 million will be traveling by road. That's up 60% from last year. But it won't come cheap. Gas prices are the highest they've been in 7 years. And don't expect much room on your flights either, if that's how you're traveling. Delta says it has more than 3 million bookings between Thursday and Monday alone. Last year, that number was just 300,000. And United says they'll fly 1.3 million people this holiday weekend, and that they're already surpassing pre-pandemic leisure travel bookings. Some of the top Memorial Day weekend airline destinations: Jackson Hole, Las Vegas, Sun Valley, Miami, Orlando, and Vail. Certainly not bad at all. Travel safe. And we still have a ton to get to here on Prime. The verdict in the case of Mollie Tibbetts, the 20-year-old Iowa woman who disappeared and was later found dead after jogging near her home. Vladimir Putin's embrace of the leader accused this week of state-sponsored hijacking. And the women trying to change the all-important lobster industry in Maine. But first, a look at our top trending stories on abcnews.com.
We will guide you through it all tonight. We have made it through another week together.
Big hug,
We tell all our patients how much they're loved. We hold their hands.
David, we're showing our love and support for all the ICU staff.
They're the heroes in this.
Somewhere out in the country, there's a man.
I'm Bobby.
Doing good things for good people. He'll walk a mile in their shoes, then get him a brand spanking new pair when he's done.
Just wanted you to have this.
Thank you.
You name it, he'll try. even if it breaks him.
Bobby Bones, they're trying to break you.
Oh, great.
Breaking Bobby Bones. New series Monday at 10 on National Geographic.
We want to know how you say.
Can't start my day without GMA.
Now, with America reopening, we want you to show us how you say,
Good morning, America.
So get together with friends, family.
Good morning, America.
And share with us at #MyGMA how you say.
Good morning, America.
And you might see yourself right here on GMA.
Time for some new adventures. This is going to be a journey and a half. Croatia, Texas, Portugal, Maine, Iceland, and more. The things I do for food. Looks like the inside of a diaper. That is delicious. Wait. Bloody hell.
Gordon Ramsay Uncharted. New season Monday at 9 on National Geographic.
Friday nights, 9/8 Central. True crime, cinematic, real-life drama, stunning, the unthinkable. Follow the clues. The Hunt. True Crime 2020. Friday nights, 9/8 Central on ABC.
The most powerful stories of our time, anytime. Nightline.
On this vote, the yeas are 54, the nays are 35. The motion is not agreed to.
Senate Republicans blocked an effort to create an independent bipartisan commission that would investigate the January 6th deadly assault on the Capitol by Trump supporters using the filibuster. Invoking the filibuster requires a 60-vote minimum to move forward any legislation. Ultimately, 6 Republicans joined Democrats in the 54-35 vote, falling short of the 60 needed to advance the bill.
Shame on the Republican Party for trying to sweep the horrors of that day under the rug because they're afraid of Donald Trump.
Top Republicans feared Democrats would drag out the investigation into the insurrection just ahead of the critical 2022 midterm election. This despite a passionate day of lobbying from family members of Capitol Police Officer Brian Sicknick, who died one day after the attack. His mother going door to door yesterday pleading for support for the commission.
Usually I'm staying in the background and I couldn't stay quiet anymore.
Russian President Vladimir Putin welcoming Belarusian leader Alexander Lukashenko today. It is the first meeting between the two since the forced landing of the Ryanair passenger jet. In the meeting, Putin dismissing the incident. EU leaders have denounced the incident as air piracy and asked European airlines to avoid Belarusian airspace. Russia has refused some of the requests to change the flight paths to Moscow.
A police officer spotted a stolen motorcycle and this stolen black SUV in the motel parking lot. While he was processing both, a guy walked up and tried to get on the motorcycle to get away from the scene.
At that point, a physical confrontation ensued.
The guy ran into a nearby room. That started the barricade.
During the process of trying to conduct evacuations, officers approached the neighboring apartment and a shot rang out towards officers from inside the neighboring apartment.
Police say the guy used a hammer and a saw he had inside his unit to create a hole to escape.
He was able to fit through that hole that he created in the wall, go into the neighboring apartment, and unfortunately took the female babysitter and 4-year-old little boy hostage.
Around 8 hours into the situation, police say the boy was freed and the babysitter was released around 2 Thursday afternoon. Then, after nearly 30 hours, the guy surrendered peacefully.
I'm just happy that all the hostages made it out alive and they weren't hurt.
In Philadelphia, a 51-year-old black man who spent nearly 3 decades in prison has been released.
Free at last, free at last. Thank God Almighty, my son, free at last.
Eric Riddick was convicted of first-degree murder based on the sole testimony of a witness who later recanted his account that Riddick was on the balcony shooting down at the victim. Forensic evidence shows the shots were fired in an upward direction. The prosecution withheld evidence related to a rifle allegedly used in the killing.
We, the jury, find the defendant, Christian Bahina Rivera, guilty of the crime of murder in the first degree.
A jury unanimously found Christian Bahina Rivera guilty of first-degree murder for the stabbing death of Mollie Tibbetts in 2018. Tibbetts, who was studying to become a child psychologist, was abducted and killed while out for a jog. Prosecutors say Rivera was angry after the 20-year-old Tibbetts rebuked his advances. But Rivera took the stand in his own defense and said two masked men were actually responsible and forced him at gunpoint to dump the body. Investigators say his excuse does not match the evidence. Rivera is expected to be sentenced to life in prison.
And now to Tacoma, Washington, where 3 police officers have pled not guilty to criminal charges in the death of Manuel Ellis last year. Video shows officers hitting Ellis, pinning him to the ground, and then we hear those haunting words, "I can't breathe." Here's ABC's Chief Justice correspondent Pierre Thomas.
Today, 3 Tacoma police officers in a familiar setting of appearing before a judge, but in the unfamiliar role of being suspects themselves, in shackles and wearing orange prisoner jumpsuits.
The court agrees it's a serious violent offense.
2 officers facing multiple charges, including second-degree murder. A 3rd officer charged with first-degree manslaughter. The charges are tied to the violent confrontation and death of Manuel Ellis, another black man begging to breathe. Ellis beaten and tased before his hands and feet were bound, writhing in pain. An autopsy concluding he died from a lack of oxygen due to physical restraint.
Put your hands behind your back.
There were no police body cameras, and it's unclear why officers got into the confrontation with Ellis, who was walking after a trip to the convenience store. The family believes Ellis, who had been playing drums at the local church that night, was murdered and that there was a cover-up.
I want it stopped. And I will never, ever give up. Ever.
Video recorded by witnesses on smartphones and a doorbell camera raised questions about why police used so much force.
Stop! Oh my God, stop hitting him! Hitting him, just arrest him!
Prosecutors say they've identified witnesses who say they never saw Ellis fighting back.
And Pierre Thomas joins us now. Pierre, how have the police department and the police union reacted to this case?
Well, the force has ordered an internal investigation, Juju, but I got to tell you that the police union is defiant. They're calling this prosecution a witch hunt.
And Pierre, prosecutors are also alleging that these officers used a neck restraint on Ellis, and we don't know if that's true or the circumstances of this encounter, but I'm wondering, Pierre, are many police departments still authorizing neck restraints when we've seen how this technique can go so terribly wrong?
That technique is becoming more controversial. We have documented at least 17 states which have banned chokeholds or any kind of technique that impedes breathing. So this is a moment where law enforcement is under increasing scrutiny, and those kind of techniques are very much in a situation where police departments are wondering whether they should be used.
Pierre Thomas, as always, thank you for your insights. And today, 50 Holocaust survivors released a powerful statement in light of the rise in anti-Semitic attacks and urged public leaders to reject anti-Semitism and the misuse of the Holocaust. In part, the statement reads, "We are seeing an alarming confluence of events that we never imagined we would witness in our adopted homeland. We cannot remain silent in the wake of the recent anti-Semitic attacks in cities and towns across the country. We know firsthand the danger of unchecked anti-Semitism." President Biden also releasing a statement calling the recent rise, quote, "despicable, unconscionable, un-American," and saying they must stop. As we head into Memorial Day weekend, the unofficial start to summer, prices on air conditioners and other seasonal essentials are spiking right along with the temperatures. ABC's Becky Worley has more on what's causing the price hike.
When temperatures go up, so do sales of air conditioning units, an increase in demand that goes way beyond seasonal spikes.
There's the fear that this could be like toilet paper and paper towels last spring.
Many air conditioning manufacturers point to COVID-related production slowdowns, a worldwide shortage of semiconductors, and even the Texas freeze that has copper and plastic piping supplies facing unprecedented demand.
We're seeing a lot of raw materials shortages and price increases. So copper, aluminum, steel, all of those go into air conditioners.
So if you can find an air conditioner, prices have gone up too. The units themselves 3 to 9% more expensive. Then installers pinched on piping and materials. They're reporting anecdotally roughly 15% increases for consumers.
And with the boom in home building that's going on for the past year, as well as a lot of commercial buildings and schools upgrading their heating and ventilation and cooling systems, there's been this tremendous demand for air conditioning equipment as well.
Our experts say order now if you're even thinking about getting AC. Consider standalone or ductless units, which will save you money on electricity costs. And even if you already own an AC unit, fire it up now and listen to make sure it sounds right and is actually producing cool air. Scheduling a tune-up visit with a professional now could save you weeks of sweating it out later this summer.
And the summer is just starting. Well, in a state known for its delicious lobster, Maine has more than its fair share of fishermen. But there is a growing number of women who are making serious waves in this male-dominated industry. ABC's Will Reeve has more.
In this state, there's one catch that's king: lobster. In Rockport, 29-year-old Sadie Samuels has continued her family's tradition and helped redefine the image of a lobster boat captain.
The only way you change people's minds is by doing it.
Sadie let me tag along on the boat she's helmed since she was a teenager. Aboard the Must Be Nice, I got firsthand experience in one of Maine's most valuable and iconic industries.
It's like a generational thing, so I fish where my dad's fished, and I love that.
So you're carrying on the family tradition?
Absolutely.
Lobstering is hard work. Sadie and her stern man, Corey, showed me the basics: bagging bait and setting traps. Then we check others, hoping for a haul.
That's a lobster. Hello.
Before we get to put the bands on the lobsters, we have to measure them.
Okay.
Because our fishery is highly regulated.
But it's early in the lobster season. These aren't quite ready. Maybe later in the summer.
We'll see you in a few months. You're going to be so delicious.
Sadie's father is also out at sea, still guiding his daughter in the job he taught her as a young girl. She says she loves it so much she'd do it for free if she could. But Sadie has turned her passion for lobster into a budding business. She runs her own lobster truck, also named Must Be Nice, a short drive from the harbor where she works all day. Her lobster roll a strong entry in the statewide competition to be crowned Maine's best. She hopes to win in July, but either way, she's a businesswoman and pioneer.
I also found out I really love giving people lobster rolls and like getting to talk to the broader community that doesn't really see this part of it. And oftentimes they're kind of surprised that I'm a girl, which is fun.
Sadie says she's one of a growing number of women in the Maine lobster industry and one of the youngest captains. Her job is her life, and that's just how she likes it.
I've got the best office in the entire world, I feel like.
Yay for the lobster ladies. Our thanks to Will Reeve. And when we come back, the remarkable life-saving gift and the new bond forged between a Palestinian and an Israeli Jewish family, despite the conflict that threatened everything around them.
The most powerful stories of our time, anytime. Nightline.
Time for some new adventures. This is going to be a journey and a half. Croatia, Texas, Portugal, Maine, Iceland, and more. The things I do for food. Looks like the inside of a diaper. That is delicious. Wait. Bloody hell.
Gordon Ramsay Uncharted. New season Monday at 9 on National Geographic.
Friday nights, 9/8 Central. True crime, cinematic, real-life drama, stunning, the unthinkable. Follow the clues. The Hunt. True Crime 2020. Friday nights, 9/8 Central on ABC.
I know what happened, and I'm not guilty.
Why the fascination with criminal trials? Figure out what's really out there.
She revealed she had murdered his family.
I know in my heart they did this.
It's the time of suspicion.
The ending's really tough.
You don't know whether truth is going to be difficult to find unless you try to find it.
want to know how you say.
Good morning, America! Good morning, America! Can't start my day without GMA.
Now, with America reopening, we want you to show us how you say,
Good morning, America.
So get together with friends, family.
Good morning, America.
And share with us at #MyGMA how you say.
Good morning, America.
And you might see yourself right here on GMA.
The reality is our country can collapse from within.
You see the white power movement on the march. Klansmen and neo-Nazis, skinheads, it's meant to incite war.
From the KKK to Oklahoma City to Charlottesville, the new documentary event special.
We just need to start talking about race.
Homegrown Hate, the war among us.
This is a real wake-up call.
Streaming now on ABC News Live.
The recent tensions between Israel and Hamas led to hundreds of deaths and unprecedented violence inside Israel itself, often pitting Jewish neighbor against Palestinian neighbor in some instances. The anger threatened to rip civil society in that nation at its seams. But as Matt Gutman reports, it also led to an unexpected gift born out of tragedy. And with a fragile ceasefire in place, it reveals a glimmer of hope for the future in the conflict-ravaged region.
It was the sound of sobs that filled the room. Rhonda Weiss is gently weeping. She is a Palestinian Israeli who just received a life-saving gift. She's sitting between Effie Yehoshua on the left and Ira Yehoshua on the right. They are Jewish Israelis. It's their hands, clasped in hers, tenderly stroking her arm, that do the talking. This moment all the more remarkable. Just 2 weeks ago, as Israeli jets tore through the sky in Gaza, as Hamas rockets rained on Israeli cities, another explosion took place. In cities with mixed Jewish-Muslim populations, long-simmering anger by ethnic Palestinians with Israeli citizenship over what many describe as second-class citizenship shook the nation at its core. Black smoke from burning tires rose above cities like Lod. Young Palestinians clashing with Israeli police, hundreds were wounded, dozens arrested. On the evening of May 11th, as the conflict was rapidly escalating, Ira's husband, Yigal Yehoshua, was driving home from a family get-together. Police say a group of Palestinian rioters began stoning his car. Police said he was hit with several rocks in the head. Yigal's brother took me to the spot where it all happened. Those burn marks, the broken glass, still there. His family still struggling with what happened next. We were only there for a minute before his brother Effie couldn't take it anymore.
Effie wanted to take us out here, but he just told us he can't stand here anymore.
Yigal, they tell me, managed to make it home, but collapsed. Suffering massive head wounds, he never regained consciousness. On the way to meet Rhonda, Yigal's family tells me they decided that the right way to memorialize the man who loved people so much, who loved Jews and Arabs, would be to donate his organs. Didn't matter who got them, they said, as long as it brought life. And in the van, I ask Ira if she's emotional because she's going to see Rhonda. She says, yes, I just hope we'll be able to stay in contact and that another person will be able to live because of Yigal. A few days earlier, Rhonda got this phone call. After 10 years on a waiting list and thousands of hours on dialysis, Rhonda would finally get a kidney. The surgery was performed by a Palestinian Muslim transplant specialist on a Christian Palestinian using the kidney of a Jewish man. Yigal's kidney. There are moments of quiet in the back of the van despite Effie's attempts at small talk. We drive the 40 miles up the ancient hills to Jerusalem, where Rhonda lives. In the stairwell, Ira tells me she's nervous. Then that knock.
Shalom.
There is a familiarity that transcends culture and language. They sit and silently speak the language of mutual compassion. A few moments later, I ask Rhonda about her emotion. She struggles with the words, but tells me that it saddened her that her life was saved because other Palestinians killed Yigal. Effie says they came here because they wanted to close the circle. It was hard not to notice the way Ira was stroking Rhonda's arm. As the visit winds down, Effie asks Rhonda to come visit them. Rhonda says they are like family now, inexorably linked by that life-saving gift. And as they hug before parting, Rhonda tells Ira to take care of herself. And Ira says, "You take care of yourself. Now you are taking care of two people." And they hold each other, a moment of grace and of hope. Matt Gutman, ABC News, Jerusalem.
An unbreakable bond. Our thanks to Matt Gutman. But before we go tonight, the image of the day. Members of the military taking part in a somber ceremony, putting flags on sacred ground at Arlington National Cemetery in honor of the brave men and women who've paid the ultimate sacrifice on behalf of us and on our country. We thank them all for their service today and every day. And that's our show for this hour. Stay tuned to ABC News Live for more context and analysis of the day's top stories. I'm Juju Chang in for Lindsay Davis. Stay safe and enjoy this holiday weekend. Thanks for streaming with us.